What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mic Check Podcast. This is T-Word, the People's Champ. Thank you for tapping in. Today, we're going to talk about Stephen Fulton and the next things in line for him after his matchup with Naoya Inoue, which is scheduled for May 7th in Japan. But before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate the feedback. Now, let's get into it. So, cool boy Stephen Fulton and the monster Naoya Inoue are set to tangle on May 7th in Japan for 2 belts at 122 pounds, unified championships. Now, the way that the landscape is set up at the super bantamweight division is that while if Inoue is to win this fight, MJ, the other champion at 122 pounds, is likely to go ahead and accept the challenge because it's so financially fortunate that they'll go ahead and fight. On the other hand, if Fulton is to win, there's a good chance that he probably won't get to face MJ, and he's going to need to pursue greener pastures at 126 pounds, something that he'd already thought about exploring before he was scheduled to fight Inoue. So let's think about this for a moment. What is there left for Stephen Fulton at 122 pounds? The only thing that I would consider is maybe a matchup with Raisa Leen, and this is with a win. I think if Fulton is to lose to Inoue, he's naturally just going to go ahead and move up to 126 unless he requests a rematch. I'm sure Inoue will grant it, and we'll see how it goes from there. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that he's to lose this matchup. He's probably going to go ahead and move up to 126, and he may look at facing Brandon Figueroa again in a rematch, which would be good on paper, but I don't know that it improves his resume because I feel like he has some distinct advantages, but it might be a good comeback fight just to show that warrior spirit because he is such a good fighter. In addition, he may look at some other champions at 126 and pursue them instead. And even coming off a loss to Inoue, moving up, he's going to be highly ranked in the different sanctioning bodies. So I think he'll have a great opportunity to keep his career on track. And with just a single loss and having beaten so many undefeated fighters, I don't think you can knock Fulton for, as they say these days, daring to be great at 122 and taking on probably the biggest challenge he'll have faced in his career. On the other hand, if he's to win, again, I think he'll be iced out of a matchup for undisputed. So he may need to pursue greener pastures at 126 anyway and go ahead and get his career on and maybe take a shot at becoming undisputed at a higher division. He's already 28 years old, so time isn't on his side. So he needs to make some really strategic moves, in my opinion, to get to that next level. And I also believe that with a win, he puts himself in the pound for pound conversation. Most people have him on the fringe, somewhere between 11 and 15. I actually would put him already in my top 10. However, even if he wasn't, with the win over the monster, I think you naturally have to elevate him to at least somewhere between 6 to 10, if not in your top 5, because he'll have beaten several undefeated fighters. Not to mention, he'll have knocked off the pound for pound number 1 at the time of that victory. So in my opinion, if you don't already have him ranked, with the win, it seems you'd have to put him in your rankings if you carried something like that. Now, something that I think some people might hold against him is the fact that he's only operated in one division. With the single campaign at 122, they may need to see him move up in weight to 26 and potentially 30 before they could grant him access to that pound for pound list. And in my opinion, I think it's fair. While I think Errol Spence is a great fighter, I don't actually rate him very high in pound for pound. Only because I've seen him defeat all of his contemporaries at 147 do I rank him up there. The only people that are left are Terrence Crawford and Keith Thurman, and both those guys are on his radar. So with the win over either or both, it's easy to see him elevated high up in the pound for pound list. I think something similar for Stephen Fulton is relevant to this situation, though I think some parts of his resume, because he hasn't cleaned out a division necessarily, make it hard to push him into that top 10. Definitely makes it really hard to put him in the 5. So it's worth at least a discussion, you know? We'd love to hear what you guys think. This has been T-Word for the Mic Check Podcast. Until the next time, I'm out. Peace.